Well, quite a lot of that Westminster actually, mooing from the backbenches. What a spectacular place to launch my leadership bid for the Conservatives. None of my colleagues will be able to do such a great place. I am tempted, Lawrence, to ask you whether or not I might be looking for a full-time job shortly. If there is any sort of space on the farm, you know, I can turn my hand to almost anything.
Well, I'm sure we could get you scooping ice cream. That would be the one thing.
I was thinking scooping.
I can do that. Look, it's a great privilege to be able to be asked to launch the management plan. I have got the speech in my hand, but I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to share a few thoughts, if I may. You may be asking, well, why do we need a management plan? What's the whole point of it? And of course, where you have all these competing interests in an area like this, with an underlying desire to preserve what we have for future generations, we absolutely do need a framework to try and deal with the competing pressures and interests. So, for example, you know, people want to farm here, and how should they be allowed to farm? But isn't it encouraging? I've certainly seen in the 27 years I've been doing this job, bearing in mind I grew up on the dairy farm in East Devon, a sea change in the attitude of farmers towards the natural environment. I've certainly noticed that, and it may be because of the various schemes, it may be because of the sort of funding incentives, but certainly a day-to-day awareness that we are all stewards. Even though we might be farming on the farm, we are stewards of this astonishing landscape and nature, the planet we've been given. Some people want to run businesses here, and that's of course absolutely vital too. You've got to live in the countryside. Many people will want to work in the countryside, but the management plan talks about the sort of businesses that we can encourage, ones which are sympathetic to the natural environment. It's no coincidence, I think, that politicians are talking an awful lot recently about mental health. And I think it's very encouraging that mental health awareness is growing. It used to be the sort of the taboo subject, didn't it? And we all know that enjoying the delights of the countryside and the landscape can be very therapeutic. And look, we've got Plymouth, 250,000 people on one side of the AONB, and Torbay, 150,000 people on the other side. And you know, what an asset that those people working hard in their urban environments, and I represent a seat which is partly suburban, partly rural, and there's a vast difference between those two worlds. What a blessing and an asset to be able to come into the countryside and just stand here. And how many stories we've all read or heard about of young people, in particular teenagers, simply benefiting from being in the rural environment. But that's all got to be managed in a way that doesn't overwhelm and overrun the people who do live in the countryside. So that's why we need a plan. Now, I read this management plan. I've seen earlier iterations of this plan. I think this is the fourth. Is that right?
Great.
Roger. Read my briefing this morning. I read it last night when I got back from London, and I just, you know, it's been a horrible week in London. Actually, it's been a horrible 6 months, if I'm honest. It's been horrible. I've been there a long time, and it's brutal and horrible at the moment, because we don't like to have something we want to do and we can't do it, and everyone's sort of disagreeing with each other. But when I just read this, the management plan, of course the stunning pictures, but also the narrative, it was just like an oasis in the wilderness. It's real, it's important, it's local, and I want to say well done to all those people who've developed this. I think all of the plans I've seen, this is a very very well thought through plan. I think it's going to work extremely well. So I'm thrilled to be here. Really, my job is just to launch the plan and hopefully have some ice cream immediately afterwards. Yeah, I'm looking to my right, didn't get the nod I was hoping for. Never mind.
I'm sure there's some in there for you. We'll get you a cone in a minute.
There's no ribbon to cut, but just well done to all those who produced this spectacular report. I think all of us know we have a wonderful responsibility to preserve what we see around us today and hand it on to the next generation. This management report will help us to do that. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, folks.